Well. Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Waking up for a nice and early morning over here in not Helsinki. No, Estonia. That's right. It's getting hard to say, but you know what? Hey, have a good morning. Hope you're having the best morning possible. Bitcoin doing all sorts of moves in the overnight hours. And of course, you can imagine my surprise when I wake up and we've actually already filled the gap. My God, man, I was not expecting this to happen so fast. But of course, that's why I don't talk about time analysis. That's why I talk about targets. And overall, we got plenty to talk about today. But of course, before we get into it, hey, happy Friday. You made it all the way to Friday. Doesn't mean shit because Bitcoin trades on the weekend, 24/7 market. No sleep for the wicked. But we got plenty to talk about. So let's waste no more time. Teleportation initiated into the live scene right here, right now. Let's see what we got going on with this beautiful Bitcoin. And starting off with the daily, you can see that the dailies come all the way back down, basically tested the 21 exponential moving average, as you can see right over here. Now, this is a beautiful fill, more importantly, of the CME gap, and this is what I really want to focus on, and this is why I was really, loud about this area. Now, while I didn't actually, I really didn't expect this to happen like this, like literally in a day. When I was speaking about this, someone asked me a time frame for this, said maybe like a week or two. This is why I don't believe that time analysis can really be done, but target analysis can be done, at least in my experience. So, looking at this, we have a perfect move right off the yellow 20-month exponential moving average, and I really want to spend some time here because the CME chart is so much more cleaner. It's so much more easy to read, and you can see that it really gets played off of more. So I do believe that this is confirmation that this chart really does. I mean, it's just it's just more information that this chart is the one that is really the one to be going off of, actually, as a perfect test of the 21 and bounce right off, filling the gap along the way. Just fucking beautiful. Obviously, I did not actually get a chance to buy this. I didn't have any resting bids down around there, although that was my next big area. So unfortunately, I don't get to, I don't get to benefit from that. But hey, if you did take that trade, well, congratulations to you. Hopefully you're on the Western Hemisphere and not staying up at all hours of the night. But overall, just for full transparency, showing my positions right here. There we go. We do see I'm basically flat from about 7,500-ish area. Now, I did sell a little bit higher than that, around 8,000, but I've been holding this position and kind of managing it going forwards. So obviously the average price is going to be a lot lower. So overall, I'm pretty much just flat right now. I don't really have any plans to change this around in the current range. What I do have plans to do is take trades on the extremes of this range. So currently, as we are just kind of in this area, there is not really anything, in my opinion, to do from a higher time frame perspective. The trending trades, the directional trades, were had in the in the overnight hours, and that was confirmed with what we talked about yesterday night, right? With the daily dollar time frame taking out the low of the prior day, and then we just got continuation. This one happened to be a pretty damn aggressive move to the downside. Of course, this was also a bearish divergence on the daily getting played out, testing the 21 exponential moving average right over here. We see daily Stokes crossing down as well. So a lot of everything kind of lined up with each other. Of course, the daily Jewel. Whoops, get off over there. Come on, man. We got some more important things to talk about than fucking colors. And look at this, a little bit of a signal, and of course this is not necessarily a perfect signal. A perfect signal actually looks a little bit more like this, right? Even that's not like a perfect. I want to find a perfect, which is right over here. But is a decent signal, probably good enough to be taken, of course. So I do want to get that out. If you do have access to the Jewel, well, that was your initial signal, so to speak. Anyways, going back down into the actually, I want to go over to the weekly right now. Sorry, not the weekly. No, I want to start off with the 3-day. Here it is. Okay, so the 3-day is very important to me because the 3-day is getting a lot of play, and I would actually still, this is going to sound crazy, but I'd actually still have a bullish bias coming off of a wick like this, because first things first, we had so far about a almost 18% mark up from the wick. I mean, that is a significant wick right there, and just telling you that the action is getting bought up very quickly. Now, of course, all this action went down in the span of like really 1 hour from what it looks like to me, but to me, it's more important about how much gets bought up almost immediately. So I know that there's a lot of people saying, with theories around there saying that, it doesn't count because it happened so fast. No, all price action counts, man. I mean, try telling that to the people liquidating you. If, it's like, hey, it happened in 1 hour, man. It doesn't count. You can't do that. It's like, no. Good luck with that. It's not going to work, at least in my experience. Anyways, with this time frame right over here, we do see that the 200 moving average is actually still being defended. So with a wick like this, about an almost 18% wick in the span of really like a couple hours, and still holding above this 200 simple, I actually do give the nod to the bulls. However, this is just a technicality right here. If we actually do break below, if we actually do close this next 3-day dildo below this 200 simple moving average right over here, which is going to be confirmed tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, then yes, I would be looking for a further retracement, likely down to the 55 to 5600-ish region. But like I said, for right now, with the way that it's situated, and it is actually currently above the 200 simple, I would actually have the nod to the bulls for a nice little buyback. and not really go for the counter trend trade. Now, like I said, based off the lower time frames, this is not the area to be taking a trade in to begin with. This is a waiting trade for the next directional trade, most likely, and that's going to be coming in again yet tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time will be confirmed. Looking at the 3-day Stokes, we're actually hinting at across the downside, but I need to see that confirmed first. How many times we had these snakes around? Although this one is getting pretty damn extended. This is the highest that we've been ever since December 2017 of around $20,000 price per Bitcoin. So 3-day Stokes have been pretty damn good at getting actual good trending moves. So if this does get confirmed to the downside, then I would imagine that is accompanied by a breakage, a full-on confirmation below this 200 simple right here on the 3-day on tomorrow's close, and then we do play out a further retracement to the downside. But for right now, I would still be a little bit more agnostic in this region, just because the play already happened. If you took that play, it happened really fucking fast. But again, that's just Bitcoin right now. And actually, I'm in the process of transferring my funds over from my Forex account back into my Deribit account, just because I don't really see any reason to trade Forex right now when you got Bitcoin doing this kind of shit. For the last few weeks, I've been slowly moving it over because there's just more opportunity right here. Anyways, with that said, let me get on over into our 2-day. I believe that we just set in one. Yeah, we just set in one yesterday, and we spoke about this yesterday as well, that as soon as we confirmed this anywhere below about 8,000 close, that was going to be a reversal-ish type dildo, and we got follow through on it just about immediately. Again, coming down to the 10 symbol, bouncing off there. Beautiful. We do see 2-day Stokes crossing the downside. But here's the thing. Again, it's not appropriate to get, to really like front run these decisions, as I get rid of those annoying lines. But overall, I would expect actually a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a defense along this trend line. As you do see that we've been crawling up that trend line ever since middle of March. So it's been a while. It's been a couple months. And I would put weight on that. That would suggest that we actually do likely come back down and test a little bit lower. But remember, lower time frames separated from higher time frames, just be scalping right now. I do not believe that there is a directional trade to be made until I actually confirm one of those higher time frames below the critical areas. That is where I start to get, more convicted of a nice trending trade. A trade for like, $1,000, like $500 to $1,000 plus. That kind of stuff. The ones that I hodl for a little bit, like these guys right over here. Anyways. Going back into it, I do want to speak about 2-day RSI actually losing the exponential on here. No bearish divergence here actually, but is losing the exponential on it. So that would be a little bit more trending to the downside. Of course, we won't get another tick on this until tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, but that we're going to both get the 3-day and the 2-day. So that's going to be absolutely massive. Depending upon how we close these ones tomorrow is going to really dictate the next couple weeks of price action. Looking at the weekly as well, we do see currently forming a massive long-legged doji dildo, but still a lot of days left to go in the weekly before we actually set this in stone. I do want to look at the weekly Stokes crossing the downside, which will be confirmed. On Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. If we do confirm that, I would actually believe that it's probably going to be coming into confluence with the 3-day and the 2-day breaking below that critical area at about 70. I think it's like 71.50. I'll have to go back and really confirm. It is 71.08 to be exact on stamp. And then I actually would be looking for a more healthy retracement, a more aggressive retracement back down, likely around 55 to 5,600 at that point, and that would be my next big buy. So these are kind of the ways that that'll be managing my longer term trades. So this is what I'm thinking right now. Would that be a death sentence for what we've done so far? No, not necessarily. The only time where I start to really consider that we're gonna have a much more deep retracement and the bulls have lost their momentum is if we actually break this area right here, the 54 to 5,500-ish region. Why is that? Because we have a shit ton of very important moving averages coming around that range. It is a very it is an area of hot contention because we have, first things first, we have the green 55 in the cyan 89 exponential moving average. We're going to have the yellow 21 in the red 10 symbol coming in this range as well. It is an area of great importance. Looking at the daily, we have the blue 377 exponential moving average coming right in over here. The 2-day has a 200 exponential. The 3-day has a 200 exponential as well. And of course, if we go to the monthly, we do have the 21 exponential moving average in this range as well. All these are extremely important for long-term trend identification. And as long as Bitcoin remains above them, I am generally bullish for like a longer term. Obviously, you're going to have your pullbacks. We just had a fucking 20% move to the downside. I mean, that is fucking insane. But my point is that, hey, from a longer term perspective, if we do break back down those levels, then we start to open up discussion of coming back down to the low 4,000s once again. I think it's less likely. I actually do not think that happens. I think what's more likely to happen right now is that the low is actually probably in, and we come back down, put in a little bit of a base here, retest this area, and then try again to the upside. Very, very similar to what Mrs. Litecoin's done actually right over here. Mrs. Litecoin actually smashing beautifully right to my $85 target, actually a buck below on GDAX, but close enough is close enough. Yeah, about right in this region. I think my target was like 84 and a half, maybe 84 and a half. We got down to 84. Yeah, close enough is close enough. Not gonna be perfect. Don't have to be perfect anyways, but overall, this is what I'm talking about right over here. We have a very similar setup on the weekly Stokes, where we just straight vertical since December, crossing down right over here, which is what Bitcoin's kind of doing. We had a little bit of a pullback and then try again for a slightly higher high. So again, I still actually would give the nod right here. As far as the daily goes, as long as we hold up above $83 while I'm here on Mrs. Litecoin, as long as $83 is defended, I actually think that this is probably a buy. It's going to depend where we actually end this next daily dildo, because if this next daily dildo ends below 80, what is this, like 83? Yeah, about 83. Then I do believe that we're going to have a retracement back down to about 70, a little bit below 76 and a half, and then probably down around here to about 69 and a quarter. We do see daily Stokes actually crossing down on this one as well, so that would indicate that we probably going to be losing some momentum here. And obviously bearish divergence between this point and this point right over here, but that has mostly played out for the easy play in my opinion. It's really going to depend where we close the actual weekly, similar to Bitcoin, right? If we close it like this, and yes, I would be looking for that extra downside down into the middle of the 70s and then upper 60s. But for right now, still too early to call it either which way. People are calling it, people are calling it like right here, right now. No, the play already happened. Right now is the time to watch. And again, I know that's annoying because these moves happen so fucking fast, but that's trading, man. That's fucking trading. So again, if that's probably the biggest, necessary or need for like a trading bot, just because they can actually get these things, in real time while you're sleeping. But overall, looking at the lower time frames, as we haven't really gone over them just yet. Let's start with the hourly. Hourly is looking actually a little bit down here. Does make me think that we come back down and sweep the around the 6,800-ish level once again. And I do think that we actually do bounce around this area. There is support right here. Not only that, but we do have a nice horizontal and the blue 377 exponential moving average. I will actually get rid of these guys, these pair of guys right here, because the areas of interest are actually quite clear right now. For the shorter term time frames, it's about 6,800. I probably would be a buyer for a scalp right there, and for the upside, about 7,600 right over here. If we come back up around there, might be interested in a scalp to the a short scalp. Now, of course, we actually do break back above 7,600, then Bitcoin will come back up and likely actually pop back up over time to about 8,200. Although you're gonna have your drama along the way, but remember. Overall, these areas are massive ranges. So anything within this range, in my opinion, is just scalp territory. I would not be holding on to positions for too damn long. It's just not, it's not a good use of capital when the next big trade is actually staring us pretty much in the face, and all you really have to do is wait another day. Again, when you're getting like 20% swings in literally one fucking hour, you don't need to catch too many of these to make a living. Anyways, going over here to the 3 hour. This chart's been getting price action pretty damn well as well. We actually closed. We confirmed this nice wick. So overall, we do see 3 hour Stokes hitting at a lost momentum. It looks like they want to cross back up to the upside. It does look to me like we kind of want to bounce in this region. I do think that we actually do come back down and test 6,800 first, but I do think that overall this region is a bounce. Going over here to let's go to the 6 hour. Yeah, 6 hour showing resistance right around the 7,550 to 7,600-ish range. We do see 6 hour Stokes still headed down, breaking the support trend line right here if I wanted to draw it in. And overall, getting that follow through. But these timeframes are not going to get the price action right. I do want to show this though. We spoke about this a few days ago on the 15th of May. We got a perfect signal on the 6 hour jewel. And again, it takes some time to play out, but it does play out. That's the whole thing with it. If you have access to the jewel, a little bit of patience. When you get those perfect signals, a little bit of patience goes a long way. I mean, in hindsight, did it take that much patience? It took about a day and a half. But I do understand that it can be a little bit tiring in trying, especially when Bitcoin puts in its time going sideways here. But we spoke about that, and overall, it's it's just one of those things, man. Just have some. If you're gonna play even a medium time frame, you got to have a more medium term outlook, right? If you play a higher time frame, it's likely to take longer. Going over here to the 12-hour Stokes, having a fresh cross down yesterday and getting follow through on top of that. Absolutely beautiful. I do want to see where this next one does close. If we close above the yellow 20-month exponential moving average at 7,100, we'll call it, then I would be looking for the next move actually to be to test the upside of the range at 7,600 for the shorter term time frames. And I'd actually be looking for probably a rejection there. If we were to come, if we close below the 21 exponential moving average, then yes, I do think that the next move is going to be 6,800. So again, just, how much more time do we have to wait to get clarity on that? Another 4-5 hours. Not too much time. Again, a little bit of patience goes a long way here. The move more or less happened. We're literally in the middle of a massive range. I don't take positions here. To be fucking blunt, I don't take positions here. Of course, it's not financial advisor. I'm not a financial advisor, but just sharing exactly what I do in these exact sort of same situations. So to make sure my camera autofocus, need to turn that off. If you are a camera expert, please reach out to me because I have absolutely no idea how to use my camera. And I need to turn off this autofocus. I actually want to buy a new camera so I can show off what's going on in the background right now, which is pretty fun. Anyways, we do see the hourly actually kind of losing a little bit of ground here. We do see hourly Stokes curling back down. So do we have another sweep of the lows first at 6,800 and then get bought up? I mean, how many hourlies can you fit in before the next 12-hour closes? Well, about 6. Yeah, about 5, 6. So yeah, a lot of things can happen within this region. Like I said, I don't feel confident right here. I feel confident right here. I feel confident right here. And that's the important part. Don't really want to be front running those decisions because those are the easy trades we're making, not in this range where it's, more or less kind of a coin flip. Anyways, I do want to bring up the an indicator that I haven't been looking at too much, although I use this on my own a ton. It's the historical volatility percentile. As always, shout out to Bollyport for putting this together. I fucking love this thing. But overall, you do see hourly is actually showing significant volatility being done, and would suggest that this move is, more or less going to go into consolidation after a move like this. So that kind of gives me conviction that we're probably not going to be breaking the lows, anytime soon. Going over here to the daily. What does daily look like? Yeah, we're kind of ticking up on this actually. So volatility increasing, which you would expect, but also would kind of suggest that this move right here is your, is going to be your top. Is going to be your local top, at least for the next, probably like a couple weeks. It's going to take some time for this thing to cool down, and I don't think it's necessarily done just yet, actually. So again, that it's just kind of just confirming this area. Of course, on top of the other technicals, we had bearish divergence on the daily. We had daily Stokes crossing down. We had daily Jewel giving a sell. These things all working, with each other, right? But this is just another secondary confirmation tool. I wouldn't even say this secondary. This is probably one of my favorite tools, actually, with options tradings. But most people don't care about that, so I don't talk about it too often. Anyways, if you are interested in options, go check out the free playlist that I uploaded on options, because right now this thing is this action is ripe for options trading, and I do strongly suggest it. So if you do know what you're doing, there is a shit ton of money to be made and in options. Anyways, you also notice that basically well, no, I wouldn't say that. What else can I say about this? We can now take a Fibonacci retracement just because we do have a local top confirmed. Let's see how these line up. You do see that we've come back down and tested actually perfectly on this wick, the 382 Fibonacci retracement. We do have one a little bit lower around the 0.5. That's 58. I'll actually adjust this one down because that does line up better with the 55 and the 0.5. And you do see the 618 coming in around 52.20. So again, as long as these areas are intact, I would actually longer term still run with the bulls, but that doesn't mean that we can't come back down to these areas longer term as well. So that's what we're going to get clarity on with the next 3-day dildo close, which is going to be tomorrow, and then the weekly is going to be extra confirmation on that. Although I'd be comfortable making the call in the 3-day, and then and then we'll reassess when if and when these targets are hit. So again. Going to be a little bit of a waiting game right now. Let's go back to CMEs for a second. CMEs, again, I just can't get over how perfect this chart is. Keep this in mind as well. The CMEs will be getting a golden cross relatively soon on the exponentials, as long as we hold up above about 5,800 for the next 3-4 closes. But remember, today's Friday, so CMEs won't be CMEs won't be trading over the weekend. So you're gonna have to wait until next week for that to even happen. And more importantly, with this, when you get across like this, I do want to see price action actually come back down and test around this area. It doesn't need to be perfectly testing this area, but typically I want to see it around this area if it's to be a good cross that's going to be respected. And right now, just making sure that I'm recording. Okay, good, recording. Jesus Christ, come on, camera, work, you fuck. anyways, my point is that, hey, come back down like this is actually, with regards to this, actually quite healthy from a longer time frame perspective, although going to be scary as fuck for, people trading this as, once again, this is over 20% move in the span of really just an hour. I mean, it's Bitcoin, baby. It's fucking Bitcoin. You got to accept that fact if you're going to trade this asset. And that's why we love it, man. That's why we love it. Anyways, so with regards to that, we do see that if we do come back down, 5,800 would be that next kind of area of interest, and I would be looking for probably a buy around there. So again, that's going to be decided with the 3-day total close. Anywhere within that region going to be of interest to myself. Again, just sharing what I'm doing, and I'm not saying that this is right or wrong for anyone else. Just understand why I'm thinking the things that I'm thinking, and that's going to be the best way to have carry on over into these ideas. I also want to talk about this as well. So this is let's go to BLX index for this. Okay, so. Remember, I've been talking about the matrix for a while. These dotted trend lines, right? These dotted trend lines which represent the support trend lines for parabolic market cycles, each and every one in Bitcoin's history. Starting off with this first one anchored in 2010 and 2011, gets broken in 2012. That becomes our parabolic highs in 2013 and 2014 right over here. Then we set another support trend line for the next parabolic market cycle anchored in 2011 and 2012, gets broken in 2015 right here, becomes the highs of our 2017-2018 market cycle right over here. Then we create another support trend line for this past one anchored in 2015 and 2016 right over here, gets broken on this massive girthy red dildo, taking us below the 200 exponential moving average right over here. Does that become our highs our governing factor going forwards? Well, so far we're respecting it. So far we're still respecting it, and you will notice that this is BLX index, which doesn't update until like end of day, so it's still trading about 78, 79. Spot exchange is about 71.50, so 71.50 is significantly below this dotted trend line. So to me, I'd actually be looking at this as a good guide still, and I do think that as long as it holds, this is the one to be watching. I've been talking about this for a while. I've been talking about how I don't think that Bitcoin's going to be closing above this dotted trend line. Of course, 3 times does make a trend, and so far we only have 2, but it is something to watch because the more that we actually respect this area, the more and more conviction that I have that it is going to be respected, and this is the one to watch for potential highs going forwards. We have a very similar setup actually over here in 2014, 2015, not to bring up the fucking fractal talk. God damn it. Disgusting. Annoying. I think all the fractalers are wrecked after thinking that each and every, just finding every little similarity between this area right over here and what we've done for the past year and a half in Bitcoin. But you do see once we broke down below this dotted trend line, it actually got tested relatively soon right after that on a parabolic move and got shuffled back down about 30%. So 30% move down off that, and I'm just kind of spitballing right now, but if we were to have a 30% move down off that, where would that land us at? 5,400, that critical area of 5,400. So I really do think that if Bitcoin does make its way back down around there, that's my area, man. That's my area, tentatively speaking. I do like it. I do think it's worth a trade. Of course, it's going to be scary if and when Bitcoin does get down around there. And it's probably not going to happen overnight either, but you get my point. And this is also confluent with what we've been looking at on the 3-day digital time frame with the jewel, right? The 3-day digital jewel is the next big thing that I'm watching now. The 3-day dildo jewel is in a critical zone where it is starting to get a little bit more scary, right? If we do see this light blue oscillator get a negative slope, then yes, I would be comfortable with calling that we're probably going to see that move down, as usually when we get into this region and get a negative slope with red in the background on the light blue oscillator, that is when we get about a another 10 to 15% correction. So if we did come off this area right over here, 10 to 15% downward land us right around that 55 to 5,800-ish level. But of course, it's going to depend where the 3-day dildo closes tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and then we'll get clarity on this if this wants to come down or not. The more bullish scenario of this is actually, let me take off this for now. Is actually, confluent with the past experience that we've seen off that same signal. So usually when the light blue gets very deep into the critical zone, much more severe retracements are called. Going back and kind of back testing it, we have an example right here of about 30%. Right over here, we have an example, a very special example of about 65%, although I'm not necessarily convinced that that's going to happen either. Then right over here, we have about 32%. Right over here, we have about 30%. Right over here, we have about 38%. And you'll notice that all of these ones were when the light blue got very, very deep into this critical territory around the 88 to 90-ish read. You can see that right over here. We haven't really, we're not really that far. We're only about 82 right now. And the last time we actually got a signal on this was right here, which only amounted to about, I shouldn't say only, but amounted to about a about a 10 to 11% move to the downside. So the more bullish scenario of this would be actually that the light blue keeps on charging up. We get a good close on the 3-day dodo tomorrow, and we keep on charging up into this region, at which point somewhere within this region I would be looking for actually a major massive correction of about 30 to 40%, confluent with the past signals that we've seen. So again, it's really going to depend on where we close tomorrow. If we do close above the 200 simple, I do imagine that we probably do march up for another explosive move to the prior highs, not the prior highs of 20,000, but the prior highs of this run at around 8,000-ish area, with a chance to, well, if we actually break them, then I'm looking at a move towards 10,000. I mean, a break above this high right here, and this thing is not going to stop at 9,000. I shouldn't say it directly like that. I should say it's unlikely to stop at 9,000. It's going to go to fucking 10,000, man, if that happens. But I think that's a less likely thing to happen right now. Although, again, it's going to, my opinion is not what I trade. I trade technical analysis, so I'll wait for tomorrow to get clarity on a major trending move like this. Anyways, what else do we have to talk about? Let's go back and check out what GBDC did last night. GBDC, yeah, again, not, this one's going to have a major gap down, probably open up on the 200 simple at about 850. But it's not leading, just kind of following, so not as interesting to look at, I suppose. Let's go look at the other top shitcoins. What are they doing? Do they have some nasty retracements as well? I'm going to guess so. We got Mr. Buterol right over here. Is this going to be a rejection of the 200 exponential? Could be. Well, that's a 3-day. Let's look at the daily. So the daily's come back down and tested the 377 exponential. Now, first things first. Whenever talking about a top shitcoin or I shouldn't call it a shitcoin because it's not really, but it's just a term of endearment. Like, please do not take it personally. Not that these things should even be taken personally to begin with. We're talking about inanimate fucking magic internet money. It's I would hope that no one would ever take anything that I say personally. I don't wish anyone poorly. I mean, it's just there's nothing to be gained by that, right? There's nothing to be gained by that. Anyways, now I would say likely to fall whatever Bitcoin does tomorrow. But if we do break and we do confirm this next daily dodo below the 377, which is 238.5 later tonight, then I would be, hey, what the fuck? What do you mean I need to restart my computer? I already updated it, you bastard. Oh, you bastard. Let me go check this out. Sorry, I need to know right now. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? You motherfucker. You motherfucker. All right, anyways, let's check this out right over here. We do see that, if this area gets broken, then I would be looking for actually retracement back down to about 200-ish area, down around here. And that actually probably would be a nice buy in my opinion. Looking at the weekly, looking at the weekly, I'd still not be like bearish off this or anything like that. So again, I would be more careful with it. But that's really all to say about that, man. It's really going to come down to how we react within this area. Elsa's here and she's got coffee. Yes. All right. Fuck yeah. Thank you, Elsa. As my camera struggles to autofocus once again. Motherfucker. Nice little Americano. Alrighty. Hey, camera, work. How do I put this on manual focus? Oh, well, so that's a critical area right here. If we lose this area, yep, coming back down to low 200s. If we maintain this area, then if we can hold on it to today's daily dodo close, then yeah, we probably do march back up to 260-ish area. Again, going to depend on, it's going to follow whatever Bitcoin does most likely. Mrs. Litecoin, I think that we already spoke enough about her. Areas are pretty damn clear. As long as we close the next daily above $80, I like it. Well, I shouldn't say that I like it, but I do think that we get another bounce back up to test like 90-ish area. If we do close below, what is this, $84, then I'd be looking for a move back down at the very least to 78 and potential to hit 70 if that area fails, but I'd say 78 extreme likelihood. Okay, what else do we want to look at? Let's look at some other top shitcoins. Mr. Cardano over here. Ooh, getting that rejection looking a little bit more nasty, but overall, I don't you don't fade a nice weekly in just one tick. I'd still be waiting, really for a lot of these. It's going to really depend on the weekly, also whatever Bitcoin does, but more importantly on the weekly. If we close anywhere above 1,000 satoshis, I would give the nod to this being a doge-ish dildo, but for right now, which would suggest that we're going to reverse here and pop back up probably towards like 1,300, 1,350-ish area. But again, you got to wait until we actually confirm this one, because if this does end up being a full on rejection and this area just got front ran, then we just set in another lower high right here. We're getting ready for another lower low most likely, and that would suggest that we move back below 880. Ooh, nice little Americana right now. Alrighty, let's go check out BNB. Yeah, this one's selling off aggressively with the rest of the market, but looks very similar to Mrs. Litecoin. As long as we close daily dollars above 22.75, I like it. I do think that it gets another try. If we do, however, break 22.75, then I'd be looking for a move back down to 20.80. Daily Stokes actually still up right now. Daily RSI, major bearish divergence, actually, incredibly powerful bearish divergence right there. But just like, the weekly, I'd still be a little bit more lenient on it from a higher time frame perspective. As long as we're closing weeklies above 20 and a half bucks, I don't see this as a hunt just yet. If we do close below $20.50, then yes, this thing's going to have a pretty nasty retracement, probably back down to about $16, potential to get to 13, but I think 16 would probably be a nice bounce first and foremost. Give us some time to reconsider or readjust. Zcash coming back down to the weekly 21. Usually that's a decent area. You do see that's confluent with the 200 simple on the daily. And I'd be using the same area right here. As long as you hold above $67. I'd actually give the nod to the upside. If we do break $67, and yes, coming back down to this low $60 region. Bcash, literally same thing, man. As long as you're holding above the 21, this area is actually probably a buy. But daily Stokes having a fresh cross to the downside, I would say that is a little bit more bearish. We are damn close to getting a golden cross, but usually, if you are going to be getting a little bit of an attack, it's going to happen right actually when around you're going to get it. So not the best setup, actually. Not the best setup. I'm curious what the weekly looks like. Yeah, weekly looks like a front run of the 50 exponential moving average. So let me just take a sip of this coffee once again as I look you deep in the eye. So good. We do see weekly Stokes actually hinting at a lost momentum as well. If we do turn down from this area, this thing's going to come back down to about 262. 260th region. It's really going to depend on where we close this next daily and then the weekly. But the area of interest is about 327 is the magic number. It needs to hold up above that. Tron Cash, massive rejection along the 377. This one looks like it wants to come back down to 2.27. Neo Cash looks like it wants to come back down to 10 and a half. Probably does bounce there. EOS Cash looks like it wants to come back down to about 547. What else we got? Ripple Me Nipples Cash probably wants to come back down and test 35. I think I want to look at this one on the weekly. Yeah. If the weekly retraces back down to about 34-ish area, I'd actually kind of like that. Although this wick is pretty bad. That's almost a 22% wick. Jesus Christ, man. But I'd still wait for the weekly to set itself. This intra-week volatility is to be traded, with scalps, not necessarily trending trades right here. Monero Cash, what do we got here? $80. 80.5 bucks actually came back down, tested the 21 perfectly, so far bouncing off it. Although daily Stokes crossing down, a little bit more of a bearish setup here. Rejection of the 89, but I'd still be running off this, man. I really think it's important to be restrained when making trades right now, because if we actually do break like $70 on the weekly, then yes, I would be looking for another move back down into this region around $57. But as long as we close the weekly above that area, I would actually still be leaning towards the upside on the weekly. Stellar Cash, massive rejection off this area, but still holding the weekly 21. Again, same thing here. If we can close the weekly above about 11.8, I like it, and I actually think that would be a buy. I was looking at the daily. Daily is a massive rejection thus far. Daily wants to come back down, though. I would say this: lower time frames do want to pull back into about 10.9. And then we'll kind of reassess from there. But remember, it's going to be where the weekly closes to kind of set the more longer-term look. So daily does want to come back down, though. Spies, what do we have on over here? Yep. Oh, nice. Hitting my target of 289. Beautiful. Fucking beautiful. All right, finally getting a good grip on SPY. I do think that this one actually does... does actually try maybe have another try a little bit higher, maybe around 290 to 291. We're going to be closing the weekly today. So if the weekly closes like this will suggest that we do actually pop up sometime next week back up into the low 290s. But overall, this is why I've been speaking about SPY and Bitcoin's correlation, right? SPY put in a massive hunt right over here and came back down, pretty aggressive move. Actually, I believe this one, it's not to be related percentage by percentage wise to Bitcoin, but about 5.5%, which is fucking massive for traditional markets. And let me just take another sip of this coffee. Ooh, it's hot. All right, there we go. Feeling better about that. So again, if SPY does bounce here, and if SPY actually does close the day out above the 10 simple, I would be pretty comfortable saying that Bitcoin is going to be a buy. And we do march back up to about 8,000. But here's the thing. Let's actually talk about this correlation first and foremost, because I know a lot of people are very what's it called, apprehensive, when you hear something like this. But let me just explain it, and you can decide for yourself. But overall, we saw, let me put it on log scale. Yeah, so we saw both markets basically in an uptrend from 2012 to 2013, 14. Then we go into a correction during the 2014 to 2015 region right over here. Then both markets going parabolic at the same time from, end of 2015, early 2016 and onwards up until 2018 or beginning of 2018. And I'll take back off log scale here so we can look at it. Then they both come down in succession in lockstep right over here on this first down, back up, back down again, like literally the exact same move, back up right over here. Then Bitcoin goes into a sideways consolidation, SPY goes into an upwards consolidation. Then they both fall down gloriously at the same time, putting their lows almost to the day at the same time. Bitcoin a little bit sooner than SPY, and then both have been up ever since. However, SPY did put in a little bit of a high here, so SPY is trading is trading ahead of Bitcoin, and because SPY did put in a high right over here, I would be looking for that was kind of my signal for saying that Bitcoin's more likely to have a pullback in this current region that we were speaking about over the past week. However, SPY getting picked up right here is actually a really good sign. It's actually a really, 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 really good sign. So if we can actually close this week out strong, if we can close this week out above 287.5, then yes, I do think that SPY tries hard, and that would likely incite that Bitcoin's pullback does get bought up, and we do try back on towards that 8,000-ish region. However, if we do close below that region, then this becomes a little bit more of a question mark. I would still actually be a little bit more leaning towards the upside, believe it or not, unless we close down below 281.5 to end the day. If we do that, then yes, I'd be looking for this move to come back much further down to high 260s, like 268, 269-ish area. Monthly is concerning here. Don't get me wrong. Come on, monthly, bring it up, baby, you motherfucker. Yeah, monthly is concerning here. But we still got another couple weeks for the monthly to actually set itself in stone. So I would still be giving it that time. But so far the 10 simple has picked up price action, so that would be a good signal. But I am a little bit, I can go both ways here, no pun intended. But we do see that monthly Stokes are actually still crossed up and have been defending this zone for the past 10 years since 09 right over here. So I actually do think that this is probably, is this just a dump or do we head on lower? I don't think I'm comfortable saying that just yet. I'd wait for the weekly to set itself in stone and then we'll decide. But I am starting to lean a little bit more back up to the upside for this one, but going to be mediated by where we close tonight. Alrighty. What else do we want to talk about? I think that covers just about everything that I wanted to say. I guess we can briefly go over the longs and shorts. Everyone's going crazy over this. Oh, and I want to say a massive apology to Tristan Toft yesterday, who corrected me on what was going on with the Finex margin positions. So in Finex, and I did not know this, and shout out to Tristan for awareing me on this. You can claim a position, and that just means that you can take a margin position and it gets shuffled on over into spot and it never shows up in the order books. Very bizarre. I've never heard of any of this happening in traditional markets. This is that was illegal as fuck, but it was very enlightening to hear that this is actually in Finex's terms of agreement you can do this. So yes, everyone going crazy over the shorts dropping yesterday. Yeah, it was a more bearish thing. But it was likely someone just claiming their position. So again, I don't even really put too much weight on the margin shorts and longs on Finex. It's more of like a tertiary type confirmation tool. As I take another sip of this coffee. Okay, nice. And this comes down to a lot of things because we don't know someone's positions on Finex, or sorry, we know someone's positions on Finex, but we don't know their other exchange positions. And someone who's dealing with 10,000 Bitcoins, they are likely on multiple exchanges, hedging and having all sorts of arbitrage between different exchanges. So we just don't know their other positions. We can't really get a good read on what's going on. We also just don't know. We don't know a lot of things about it, but it is fun to look at. Like I said, it's a tertiary type confirmation tool. It's to be used in confluence with the tentacles, which I think are a lot more tangible. Anyways, going back on to Mr. Bitcoin. How we doing here? Ooh, hourly getting picked up a little bit, but like I said, this for me is a no trade zone. If we do pop back up, looking at 76 to, sorry about that, to 76.50. If we do fall back down, I'd be looking down around here, around 67.50 to 6,800, both those ranges. So that's a lower time frame. Anyways, with that said, I'm going to start to wrap up this video. I kind of just said everything that I'm looking for there. It's the 3-day that I'm really most concerned with. Where do we close tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time? Do we close above or below about 7,100? If we close above, then I do think that this gets picked up and we do march on back to our prior highs at above 8,000, and with a chance to get beyond. If we do close below, then I do expect a comeback down deeper into the 6,000 territory. Actually, even beyond 6,000, probably back down to about 55 to 5,800 in that region there, and we'll test that area out. But overall, for now, still living above it, but too early to call. If you're playing the lower time frames, I do not believe that this is an area to be taking trades off of. Like I said, the areas that I'd be looking at, if you go back to BitMexico, are right here. Hey, adjust yourself, you fuck. There we go. Right here between about 75.50 and 7600, and then down here between 6800. Anything within that range, which we're literally right in the middle, I have zero interest in, and just scalp territory. So with that said, I'm going to be signing off. I do want to wish you all on this beautiful Friday. I'll be back on later with some more live stream action. Looking forward to that, and take care.